It is Game Points here on TSN 690. All right. So, I've been getting some tweets. I've been getting some Facebook messages. Here's the deal. I believe the Montreal Canadiens should trade Lars Eller. Trade him while you're hot. Trade on a high. I've always believed in that. Case in point, my fantasy hockey pool. I won it last year. 13-man pool. Pretty competitive. This year, not doing so well. However, I did make one trade. I bought someone while they're low, and I sold someone else while they're high. I bought on Shea Weber. He didn't have a point in 10 games, as if that was going to last. So I took one of the best defensemen in the league, and I gave up a couple of players in return, one of which was Sam Gagner, who had a point in all 12 of his first games this year. He's cooled off a little bit. Shocker. And lo and behold. So, taking that philosophy and applying it to real-life Montreal Canadiens, you're looking at this team now at 12-4-2. Are you a believer as of yet? Well, maybe, just maybe, after this upcoming swing where they have 7 of 8 games on the road, they get past this thing at 4-3, maybe even 5-2. Oh, very nice. Sorry, Reese Witherspoon in the background, looking nice in her Oscars gown. Dave Simon, you approve?
Yeah, I like Reese Witherspoon. She looks good.
All right. Sorry, I got distracted there. All right.
Yeah.
So, that was very creepy, by the way. All right.
Yeah.
So getting back to Lars Eller's situation, if the Canadiens get past this next couple of weeks with a pretty good record, they're still amongst the leaders in the league, you kind of have a feeling that they're for real. The question becomes, all right, if you're going to go into this shortened year, into the postseason, are you battle-tested? Are you ready to go? Do you have all of those ingredients you need to compete for the Stanley Cup? And the question that I just asked, the answer is no, they absolutely don't. The Canadiens are a team right now that has a lot of youth, a lot of speed, a lot of skill, but are they a well-rounded NHL hockey team that has all of the components necessary to compete for the Stanley Cup and win it this year? I don't think so. And I started to look at this team and think to myself, what could they use? What do they need? They need somebody who's a somewhat of a power forward, a little tough, a little rough around the edges. He has some eye hand, some scoring ability. He'll stick up for a teammate. He's got some experience in the postseason. He can play a couple of positions up front. Boom. I figured out who it would be. And so if you examine Lars Eller, yes, he scored last night, or, he's playing okay. But at some point this year, he was in the doghouse, and at some point again this year, he'll go back in the doghouse. And if you look at his career at the Montreal Canadiens, he's played for 3 coaches, Jacques Martin, Randy Cunningworth, and Michel Therrien, and he's been in the doghouse at some point with all 3 of those coaches. Not a good sign. Not a good sign. Not only that, but every couple games you have that, did he really just take that hooking penalty? I mean, you see that often from Lars Eller. Is he going to be that good defensively? Is he going to back check enough? Is he going to hurt you in those situations and take a stupid penalty? And I think that the jury has to be out. I mean, he's been around for a couple of years now. He's played for a couple of coaches, 3 coaches now. And it seems like he has his peaks. When the pressure's not on, bang, he plays well. He plays his best. Lars Eller, the 4-goal night last year. But when it comes to when they need a guy on the top line to fill in, he's nowhere to be found. And if he has some value right now, bang, trade him. Trade him if you think you're going to get past the next couple of weeks and contend for a Stanley Cup this year. If you think that's the case, go for it. What's Lars Eller's ceiling, really, folks? Is it 20 goals? I think so. I don't think it's more than 20 goals in the NHL. I think you're going to have a guy who doesn't show up every couple games. And if that's the case, is it possible to find another guy like that in your system? I would think so. I don't think the Canadiens have played better or worse whether he's in the lineup. I don't think he's really that much of a difference maker, a factor. I don't think people point to Lars Eller on this team and think, hey, he's a guy that's going to turn it all around. No, I don't think that is the case at all. So, who do you trade for if you're going to move Lars Eller out, if you're going to use him to grab somebody that you need? Well, Stefano Mocella has been doing some research for us here in studio. Stefano, I wanted somebody who's gritty, who's had maybe a little bit of a pedigree for scoring, who's going to stand up for teammates, maybe rack up some penalty minutes, who can play a couple of positions up front, who maybe is a free agent at the end of the year that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Who do you have for me?
All right, well, the guy that stood out the most to me in terms of what his salary cap situation is, what his scoring ability is, what the type of player he is, and the situation he's in now with his current team, and the guy that stood out to me the most, Ryan Clough. San Jose Sharks, I mean, really a bad stretch here after a great start to the season. They've lost, their last 8 or 9 games. And now with Ryan Clough, a free agent at the end of the year, and he is about to undergo suspension, so his value might be a little lower right now even. But this is a guy who's averaged 20 goals the last 4 years. I mean, as high as 24 goals in 2010, 2011, and another 15 points in the Sharks' playoff run to the Western Conference Final. So clearly a guy who can give you some offensive ability. He has the size that you want, a 6'2", 225, a rugged player. Actually, the second most penalty minutes right now in the NHL so far this season at 68.
Here's what I love about Ryan Clough. And for anybody out there who thinks that Lars Eller is more than a 20-goal scorer in the NHL, please give me a call and explain how and why you think he's going to be more valuable than that. I'm getting tweets from people out there telling me that he's going to be more than that, and he's not. He's not going to be more than that, folks. He's just not. Think Jan Bulis, okay? Think Jan Bulis. That is what you can compare to Lars Eller. Ryan Clough, when I heard you mention that name off-air to me earlier before the show started, a light bulb went off. Wow. I mean, this is a guy at one point in his career was going to be a perennial 30-goal scorer. It hasn't really turned out that way. Guys like Joe Pavelski have passed him on the depth chart in San Jose. That said, this is the same guy, Ryan Clough, that's about to be suspended for coming off the bench and standing up for a teammate and sending a message to other teams. I love that. I absolutely love that. Ryan Clough came off the bench and nailed Andrew Shaw from the Chicago Blackhawks because he went after one of his teammates in a questionable hit. And he risked a lot. He risked a lot by doing it. Obviously, he probably won't do that again the rest of his career, but you gotta love a guy who stands up for his teammates like that. And again, can you imagine Ryan Clough on the power play in front of the net with some of these guys? Can you imagine the room that a Ryan Clough would give a Brian Giunta, a Brendan Gallagher, some of these guys? Are you going to miss Lars Eller? Maybe a little bit. But in the grand scheme of things, come on, folks. This is to me, a no-brainer. A no-brainer if you think the Canadiens can contend this year. If they can get, again, this is all contingent on them getting past the next few games on the road, setting themselves up as a potential contender for the Stanley Cup. TSN Matthew on Twitter.com. This coming in from Jeremy Ram, or his Twitter ID, which is the worst ever. Jeremy 05231991. Why what Lars Eller is better than Bork? Eller will come back and hurt us. Not sure about that grammar there, Jeremy, but I get what you're saying. He's not going to come back and hurt you. He's not. He's not. A 20-goal scorer does not come back and hurt you routinely.
And for the 1 or 2 games he would play against them if he was with San Jose, let's say.
Now, the question is, would San Jose trade for a guy like Lars Eller, and would they move out of Ryan Clough? And again, they're contending this year still in their minds for a while. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but at least they would be able to lock up a guy or have a guy for the future. Would you do the trade?
It would be I don't think Eller for Clough straight up obviously would not work, but it could be a piece for a trade for Clough. And if I could get Ryan Clough on the Habs, definitely. It fills a huge need, a different type of player for the Habs, one that's not currently addressed as well as it should be. And exactly the type of player I think Michel Therrien would want.
From Habs_fan_76, they need to add some size on defense. Top power forward, La Tendresse used to be one, but we traded him. ROR from Colorado, maybe. He's talking about Ryan O'Reilly. Now, I had a lot of people asking me about Ryan O'Reilly. I don't want Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly had one good year with the Colorado Avalanche, and he considers himself a blue chipper. Not only that, but he's looking for $5 million a year. The Canadiens, in a cap era, cannot afford to pay that much money to a guy who's had one proven year in the NHL at a high level. And look at the Avalanche. They moved on without him gladly and happily. So, no, I would not touch Ryan O'Reilly, but I would touch Ryan Clough, and that just didn't sound right. I just heard that out loud. It is Game Points here on TSN 690. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that this is not somebody you would go after. Tell me that Lars Eller is not indispensable. Is he really a core guy? He got benched. He got scratched. Every time they put him on the top 2 lines, he doesn't do anything. Why are you so hell-bent on keeping Lars Eller out there, folks? I'll take Ryan Clough every day. Again, that didn't sound good.